All right, guys. M here again. D will eventually start this off.
I am starting this off. This is Random Ramblings,
There we
episode
go.
8. Welcome back.
It's episode 8 already?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Oh, wait.
Yeah,
Oh, shit. Did I fuck up? This might be 9.
this might be 9.
Yes.
You know, we don't really count these things out. We don't even.
It's whatever it goes up, but it is the next episode of Random Ramblings. In our last episode, we did leave off about M and his love of H.P. Lovecraft and
Well,
his
okay.
literature.
Okay, like, let me say this. You can love the art, but not the artist.
Oh, no. I'm not saying you love H.P. Lovecraft. I'm saying you love
Yeah.
H.P. Lovecraft, like lore, literature.
Yeah, but even
kind of
then,
thing.
like, I want to preface that I'm not a racist, like H.P. Lovecraft
Oh yes,
was.
apparently I never really read any of his books, but I did. There are many a post saying that he was a great writer, but he had a lot of racist views. So
Well, this dude was very. Hold on, I'm gonna adjust the mic. I should.
so we are in no way, shape, or form, agreeing with his views. We like the stories. We like the characters as far
Like,
as within the stories.
If I could say this, like, I am the people he hates. He didn't like interbreeding. He didn't like any foreigners. He only liked people from Providence who were white, middle class, and above. Like, this guy was
the
literally.
epitome of an asshole.
Yeah. But I don't. Again, I don't blame the person. I blame the upbringing, and his mom didn't really help because she was super xenophobic as well. I don't know if you knew that. Like, his dad died of like syphilis or something like that. His mom went crazy and was in an insane asylum. He apparently had too sensitive a disposition for math.
What?
Yeah. So, like, I believe our world is non-Euclidean. I'm not quite sure. I should double check that. But he would always write things like, okay, so The Color Out of Space is a book of unseen colors never seen before, strange colors, right? And it's because somebody told him about the visible light spectrum. And he's
Okay.
like, wait, there's colors we've never seen? He's like, yeah, it's called ultraviolet. We don't know what it looks like because our eyes can't perceive ultraviolet. And then he's like, it must be alien and foreign. It has to be a god. Like, this guy went nuts. He would, like, again, like I said, he had too small a disposition for math or science. He always got it wrong. Non.
So he created the fictional town of Arkham, Massachusetts, and the fictional Miskatonic University,
Yes.
which show up again and again in the stories about the Necronomicon.
Yes, I think Arkham was in either, I think, was it the Dunwich? No.
I don't know.
It was either Dunwich Horror or it was in
Oh, his name
A
is
Shadow over Innsmouth.
Howard Phillips.
Yes. Oh, also, here's another thing.
Ah.
If you guys have ever played Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, there is an actual quest based off of an H.P. Lovecraft book called A Shadow over Hactor. And they talk about the old ones in there. And if you go into a cave, dive all the way down and you're really quiet, you can hear breathing in a cave underwater. So that was a little nod for H.P. Lovecraft. But this guy literally, like, he wrote some of my favorite books. Like, just the fact that his writing style was very similar, though, to every other writing style that he did. Like, he never really changed. You know, it was always in a weird journal found somewhere by some unknown protagonist that you're only going to know for a short time because he probably dies at the end of the book. There's no happy endings. There's no winning. That's why the board games we're telling you guys about, like Elder Sign and whatnot, you don't defeat the monster in those. You never defeat the monster. You just prolong the monster from coming back. So in Elder Sign, you're trying to get enough Elder Signs to contain the monster a little while longer. You're not trying to beat the monster.
Well, I mean, looking at the fact that he made Cosmicism.
Yeah, and Cosmic Horror. Like, all of his, like, there's a god, I think he's an elder god. No, I think it's an old one. His name was Azathoth, the blind idiot god. Everything that we are doing right now, this podcast, D and I, your lives, the tree outside, is all a part of a dream that Azathoth is happening, and his demonic servants fly around him in space playing their demonic flutes and drums, keeping him asleep. And anybody who worships Azathoth are just nihilists who want to just end the world for fun.
Well, I mean,
Because the moment he wakes up, it's not an explosion; it's just a blink.
everything's gone.
Everything's gone.
Well, I mean, cosmicism, from what somebody said, is based on the idea that humanism is an illusion.
Yeah, an
So
illusion.
that we have time on this speck of a planet, but there were eons or aeons before we arrived, and there will be aeons after we're gone. The abyss surrounds us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very depressing. A lot of the things I read were depressing because I was a depressed person. So, like, you kind of, like, misery loves company.
But I've seen them do like modern cartoon like movie versions.
Oh, I think there's an anime, too,
Yeah,
based
like
off of H.P. Lovecraft.
yeah, like
where,
I think it was like Lovecraftian or something, or some I forgot what the name of the title was, but it was like an animated CG movie that I think was based off of H.P. Lovecraft as a kid.
Yeah, no,
Something like that.
that could be
Because
it.
I saw that and it was on like HBO Family and all this weird stuff. I'm like, if this is supposed to be H.P. Lovecraft, why are they showing this to kids? Like, I don't think this is a good idea, especially with everything that he kind of was talking about and all of that. I don't know if this is a good idea.
Oh my god, I actually know what you're talking about. The Howard Lovecraft.
Yeah, that one. So it is based off of him because I didn't know his name was Howard Lovecraft. So yeah, it is. So it is based off of him.
Well, it's not Hewlett Packard.
Yeah. No, but because it wasn't called H.P. Lovecraft. It was just called Howard Lovecraft and
Yeah.
something.
I think there's a game too where it's Lovecraft versus Tesla,
Why?
and it's just like it plays just like oh, what is that game? Smash TV.
Oh,
Those kind of games.
Nikola Tesla should just win.
Well, one's real. Like I was.
Howard Lovecraft was real. His stories weren't, but he was.
Yeah,
Tesla
but like,
was real,
so what it
but
is that
Tesla
like
has
the
science behind it.
what it is, how the game plays. It plays you play as Tesla, and you're in this big electric mechanized machine that he built because this guy was an engineer as well as a scientist. One of my favorite scientists, by the way, because he wanted to keep energy free and fucking what's that asshole's name who made the light bulb? Wow, we suck.
Oh God, no! It's because we're talking about
Thomas Edison.
Yeah,
Thomas Edison was sitting there, and he's like, "No, fuck you, man! I'm gonna steal inventions and try to monopolize the movie industry with Nickelodeon's in New Jersey."
Well,
Nickelodeon, not the TV show or the channel, but Nickelodeon's meaning that it cost a nickel to go in to watch.
So then the question becomes, like, didn't he come up? Didn't Edison come up with the whole AC DC current thing?
Nope. He came up with AC, which is DC, which is direct current, and I think it took a lot of energy and it wasn't really useful. So they had this thing called the Battle of the Giants, I think it's called, where they just came out of the movie about this, where it was Tesla versus Edison, and they're fighting to see who was gonna power New York.
Okay.
And Tesla came up with alternating current, and Edison killed a dog with it. Yeah, to prove that it was dangerous.
But any type of electricity is dangerous.
That's what I'm saying. And like, but alternating current, it like you use enough of it and then it goes away and like things like that. I don't remember all of it. I dated a girl who was an electrical engineer and she was trying to explain this shit to me and I was like, look, okay, I got to like calculus 2. Like you're on calculus 4 right now, talking about 3-dimensional objects instead of 3-dimensional space and.
I know what AC and DC are. They're a rock band that made Thunderstruck.
Is that? Oh yeah, that's right.
AC/DC. That's why AC
Black,
DC. Yeah.
Highway to Hell. They made a lot of good songs, but
They did.
No, I do like H.P. Lovecraft's stories. I find them to be silly at times, like the music of Eric Zahn, and he's like using every descriptive word you can think of.
Well, I mean, to be perfectly honest, when you think about it, his cosmicism could actually make sense.
I mean, it does make sense. We are a speck in the grand scheme of life.
Yeah, and like, so there could be
anything that we do doesn't ultimately matter. Like the hurt that you cause people, the happiness you cause people, evidently will never exist because they will die, you will die,
And then
and after
everything
three
moves on. Yeah,
generations, no one will remember you existed in the first place. Try to remember your great grandfather's name,
never met
unless
him.
you, huh?
Never met him.
Exactly, me neither. I didn't even meet my grandfather because by the time I was born, my parents were like in their late 40s.
But I think it does make sense, especially since you have well, any religion believes in a god, and they all have different depictions of them. So why not? Why couldn't it be true in the cosmicism sense, where those are some of the eternal gods that showed themselves in different versions?
Yeah, no,
Versus like if Cthulhu could change the way he looks and he comes out as somebody else, who's to say it's not? We're not
the
worshiping Cthulhu.
you ever heard of the bloop?
Nope.
One of the loudest sounds in the ocean, and they have no
Oh
idea where it
yeah,
came from.
yeah.
It kind of sounds like a bloop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was when they were
Yeah,
recording.
that happened exactly like around the area where H.P. Lovecraft says that the city of Earlier, where Cthulhu sleeps, is. So, could be Cthulhu.
I say we get a lot of money, build some submersibles, and go down to that bitch.
Bro, we can't even go like most places. I don't think we're gonna go down in the middle of the Atlantic. There's a reason why we don't know what made it is because I don't think we have the technology. Dude, we just sent 2 people to space, and it took less than 40 something. Like nine. I think it's like a 9-hour flight, 14-hour flight to get from here to the International Space Station. Sorry, I had a lot of spit in my mouth. International Space Station. I have a list. Okay, so I have a list, and I try to hide it because I was embarrassed by it before, and now it's kind of a habit to hide it, and it's difficult to do.
The International
Space Station. That's how I sound normally.
Oh shit.
Yeah, shut up. I got teased enough about it in high school, but we could send people to like the International Space Station. Yet we can't go more than like a couple, a mile below the ocean.
Well, because there's a difference because we're in the median where we have gravity and we're used to it. When you're leaving gravity, you have less pressure. When you're going deeper, you have more pressure.
No, isn't that crazy though?
Technically, humans aren't meant to exceed a certain amount of pressure ever.
Well,
otherwise we just get squeezed like a tube of toothpaste.
Oh yeah, no, I think like if you had a crack in your helmet in space, your entire body will get sucked into the helmet.
Or sucked out of the helmet to the crack.
Well, no, I mean eventually like it's too much like straight matter, but I think like.
Oh no, it don't
I think that was a Mythbusters
if they did prove it correctly at some point, like your of course your innards are gonna come out through, and then especially if it like breaks your skull apart and stuff like that, your innards will literally go through that crack, and then eventually, enough of the bone matter, I guess, would stop it, but that's the only thing.
And that's not even the thing that scares me about space. It's the fact that I'm going to be stuck on an International Space Station without a way to get out. You know how boring that seems?
Yeah, this is the setting for Aliens.
No, I'm talking, so there's this old Disney movie called Xenon, Girl of the 21st Century or some shit like that. And,
oh my god, we're referencing fucking Xenon.
Oh, dude, it wasn't that bad. Zoom, zoom, zoom. I think that's all I can sing before we get copyright strike by Disney. But
in terms of characters who start with X, I prefer Xena, Warrior Princess, and her
not that
thing.
I've not watched that, and I'm a huge fan of Greek mythology.
Yeah, but Lucy Lawless is the shit, and Kevin Sorbo was in it as Hercules. And then,
I've watched Hercules.
Yeah, and then
Hercules had those movies, right?
No, yeah, he had the series and he had the movies. But Kevin Sorbo as Hercules, it was
where like you'd see a peacock and Hera's gonna fuck shit up.
Kind of thing, yeah. I mean, I actually preferred those in terms of versus.
If I had to pick a god or goddess, I think I'm between like Athena and Dionysus, or I would like to be between Athena and Dionysus, if you know what I mean.
So we're talking about Greek mythology.
That's such a stupid joke.
Because if you're saying gods in general, I'd be like, Cthulhu? Please don't kill me.
Well,
let me live.
Well, if you join Cthulhu, like I believe the Dunwich Horror. No, that was Yog-Sothoth, I believe. But like you basically turn into like a weird hoofed fish person with tentacles, with mouths on it and eyes on your ass or something like that. It's you get weird, man.
I
You
look
never
like
stay human when you're that with them. You always turn into
I look like Davy Jones or something. It's fine.
no. It's worse than that. It's way worse than that. Like I think your head stays human and your hands stay human. I was showing you this earlier before we started.
Yeah, but that wasn't for Cthulhu.
No, that wasn't Cthulhu. That was Yogg-Sothoth.
Yeah, I'm talking about Cthulhu.
Cthulhu, you turn into a fish. Not like Davy Jones. You just look like a fish.
I'm fine with that.
Sure, I'm not. I like being human. I mean, if I could choose, I'd be a hobbit because they're dope as fuck, and I think they can, like in J.R. Tolkien's book, their magic is hiding.
Well, I mean, because
That's why.
they have the One Ring.
Well, that's why
rule them all.
Bilbo Baggins was chosen as the burglar because hobbits have an innate ability to hide. Like all he has to do is crouch down and not want to be seen, and no one will see him. I think that's the reason why when Frodo puts on the ring or Bilbo puts on the ring, they disappear. Is because it just enhanced the magical abilities they have, which is the reason why you don't want the Eagles taking the ring to the mountain. Because if they got corrupted, they're as old as like Gandalf is. Well, Gandalf's not from Arda.
But
Yeah, I mean I know a lot about Lord of the Rings.
so what you're saying is then that the sneak skill in Skyrim is based upon hobbits. That's what
Yeah,
you're
no,
saying.
like if you play, okay, this is gonna sound real nerdy, but if you play Lord of the Rings online, which I do,
They have a Lord of the Rings online.
and they have a D&D online,
I know they have a D&D.
not
online.
Neverwinter. I'm talking like this is old school. This looks like I think this came out around the same time as World of Warcraft did.
I don't think so. I think
Yeah.
it would have been.
No, it's old as fuck, bro. Now Neverwinter came out recently in the last like couple of years or so, but
You mean Neverwinter Nights?
it's just D&D Neverwinter.
Oh yeah, that's more recent.
Yeah, but the D&D online where you could be like Dragonborn, not like Skyrim. Yeah, Dragonborns. They're like half dragon, half humans, but they're not half dragons, which is a different race.
So then they can't be half dragon, half human.
Well, they're dragon kin, is the best way to put it.
Yeah, that would be
Like
more
wyverns
accurate.
aren't dragons.
They're wyverns.
Yeah. In my D&D campaign, I'm an actual dragon.
Bored.
Huh?
What? Because you based your character off of fucking Skyrim. So you want to Fusor Da everything, but you
No, actually, I based my character off of a man named Siegfried from
Siegfried.
German mythology. He was this man who killed Fafnir the dragon, bathed in its blood, and then married the hot chick Brunhilde. And like, I think he dies killing another dragon. Like he was like badass warrior.
You gotta admit though, Brunhilde, the way they use that name, they never put it to a hot chick.
What do you mean? She was like super hot in Django. That was her name, Brunhilde.
Yeah, but then you look at like Brunhilde and like most other movies. She's
Oh, it's
usually some
because it's
fat-
like it's
some
one of
fat
those
lady.
like it's one of those
I'm just saying, you know.
what is it called? One of those it's like Olga.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it to Americans it sounds ugly, but like to Germans it must like I don't know much of German culture, but if you were a badass warrior, you'd go for the hot chick.
Or you'd steal the hot chick.
Well, you shouldn't do that. That's probably wrong.
Well, I mean, it was like if it was anything like the movie Troy, where stuff took one of the wives and had to get Achilles to fight him to get her back, and I mean, shit like that.
Well,
could
I
happen.
think in that was supposed to be based off the Iliad,
Yeah.
and in the Iliad it was basically Aphrodite fucks up Greece for a while. Like,
When does she not? Well,
Good
granted,
lord.
when do none of the gods? When do any of the Greek gods?
oh
not
no,
fuck
I
with
think
Greece?
there's a part in the books because it's a series of books. There's a part where literally like the gods like convene and they're like, hey, it's kind of going a little quick. Let's try to like slow everything down for a bit for fun, and then they just stop the war for a while.
Well, I mean, because they have to. Because
I mean, it's been years since I've read the Iliad, so I don't really. I have it at home.
Yeah, but see,
might pick it up
I
again.
would normally assume that because the majority of the books say in order to have any type of power, they needed to be worshipped. Thus, you're not gonna want to kill everybody that worships you, because then you don't have any power.
Yeah, but that's kind of
So
like two of their job. Like
no,
you,
it's to maintain balance.
no, like Ares, his whole thing is war and bloodshed,
No,
and
yeah,
Athena, his sister, her whole thing is
what's
war
and
and battle
wisdom
strategy.
or wisdom.
But war,
Yeah,
she's still war.
that's
Her
why.
number one is war.
That's
Both of
why.
their number
That's why
ones are
it's. That's
war.
why it's weird that you have a god of war and then technically
You
Athena's
also have another god
labeled
of.
as the god of wisdom, but she's also the god of war.
Well,
So
no, she's the goddess of war and wisdom. Wisdom's always second, but they don't want you to forget war's first.
that's kind of dumb. But I think, see, in that standpoint, yes, having small skirmishes, stuff like that, of course, is going to happen. But when you have a war that pretty much runs over Greece to like pretty much every other nation at the time, yeah, you don't want to kill your populace off because then nobody's going to want to like you after that. So yeah, they have to slow shit down. But when you honestly think about it, by definition, most of the Greek gods were always fucking something up anyway. Zeus being the most fucked up one, I'm gonna come down as a giant fucking fuck something and leave. Like, alright, okay.
I think Achilles too was the one who had like that weird romance with the other dude. Well, I mean, I guess back in the day, like like homosexuality wasn't like a sin. I think like Spartans loved fucking men more than women. That's why I love the fact that everyone's like Spartans are manly men. They are not homos. Like they're totally homos, bro. I think
What?
women shave their head in Sparta to like, and women love fucking each other. Like
Well, see,
I think they only fucked each other to
well,
make
see that
babies.
that that was the thing. I don't. Well, again, everybody's interpretation is different, but I know in like 300, I know it's a rough depiction.
Yeah, it's based off a comic.
But yeah, I mean, based off of that one, it was more because what Leonidas said about Greeks and saying all those boy loving men and stuff like that, and he would kind of like be snarky at them.
Yeah, no, I mean he is Greek. He means like Athenians. You mean?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
but
but like they totally fucked each other.
you
You gotta
gotta
imagine now, you're taken away from women for like most of your
you
life.
gotta share your powers.
Yeah, I guess. Oh man, like I think there's a story where like a scout from oh what is it called, the Persian army noticed them combing each other's hairs and applying oil on each other, and they were like, look at these faggots. But they didn't realize is they were preparing themselves for death.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, yeah. But like, let's say I'm dying of cancer. I don't think I'm gonna be like, hey D, let's get naked and comb each other's hair and apply oil to my body. I don't think I'll do that. I'll be like, hey D, let's play video games until I'm dead.
Well, I mean, because again, the entire ideas behind it are drastically different. Our ideals are different from what was back then, and as people we evolve. Some ideas we seem to be regressing against. Uh, where I think at certain times in the world things made sense, and then as we advance in technology, those ideas get pushed back, and then kind of get lost. And
Again, like we said in the last episode, we used to eat horses, and now we look at it like that's gross.
well, I mean, it's the same thing. I guess if it is documented in Greece, in like Athens, Spartan, that it wasn't it wasn't frowned upon to be gay or lesbian, and then we grew from that. But then now
Well, I don't think we grew. I think we kind of regressed from that
well, that's
because
what I'm saying. Yeah, well,
we
as
changed from that.
technology advances, those kind of things got regressed, and then now it's coming back up to the forefront, and it's just like, oh yeah, we as people we were never meant for that. But
Yeah.
it's like, but it's documented in
Well, like
this society during this time frame.
history gets muddled a lot. Like that's what I've
Well,
been learning. Like people believe that we believe that the world was flat since Pythagoras in
well,
500 BC. Since him, we've never thought that the world was flat. I mean, no educated person thought the world was flat. So whenever we have people like, the Emperor of Spain thought the world was flat, or not Emperor, whatever it's called, King of
king,
Spain.
yeah,
I don't know much about Spanish culture,
eh.
but the King of Spain thought the world was flat. He didn't. He thought the world was like around pear shaped, maybe.
Yeah, but see, I think that's the part that still throws it off is the fact that all of we have documented history of this kind of thing. But then you have the ones that are like, oh, it's a sin, but they didn't look at it as a sin. It's just due to the nature of now. So again, we advance
And they didn't
technologically.
look at it as a sin well after Jesus' birth.
Yeah. So we have documented history of things
Not
like
saying that
even
Jesus looked
before.
at homosexuality as sin. I think his friends looked at
But
homosexuality as
you
sin.
have all of that well documented, and then this happens. We regress from it. We advance technology, and then we're coming back to the forefront of it. And it's like, oh yeah, that never happened. And it's like, well, I mean, you could say it may or may not have, because I think this saying holds true: is the victors write the history, pretty much.
Sometimes. Nobody really knows that the White House was burnt down once. We
Well,
lost that war and
no,
we just wiped it out of our history.
no,
We're
but
like, let's not teach people that we lost the
well, that's
war
why
to the English.
but that's why the victors write the history.
No, but we didn't win. Yet we still rewrote that history.
No, you write the history that you want people to know about.
Yeah, but if okay here, so England won that war.
Yeah.
They came in, they burnt down the White House, ate all the food, and Washington D.C. was abandoned, right?
Well, you figure it could have been.
Why is it that we don't teach it nowadays?
It could have been a mutual understanding after the fact that this was a shitty time in both of our times.
Also, too, the South lost.
Leave it.
Like, okay, this is one of the few times we're going to touch on this subject. So, we try to stay the beacon of positivity, but we do understand that as we're recording this right now, there are protests going on. I don't know when this is going to go up. I think 2 weeks from this recording date.
Potentially, but we're not going to be posting this week.
Or the week that we're recording, we're not posting
just due to the fact that
we support the Black Lives Matter movement. Personally, you don't have to agree with us. I don't.
But we have to we have to stand up for this. This is unacceptable even by today's standards. By just basic human decency.
Look,
we have to start somewhere, and then we can get to what I believe we can achieve, that Star Trek utopian future, but we have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
To be able to get there.
Yeah, and
if we don't start now, like we're never. I can guarantee we're never going to see it within our lifetime, but I have this feeling that we may not see it for many, many generations unless we fix this now.
Yeah,
like get a jump start on something.
Both D and I are races that were persecuted in our time, at some time. Like, I am a Jew and I'm also Japanese, and my grandma was in Manzanar, locked up just because she was Japanese in America.
I'm Japanese. World War II. I'm Japanese, Chinese. I know. I don't. Again, I don't know the full history, but I do know I had family members, relatives that were in concentration camps. I don't know specifically which ones, but they were in concentration camps.
Or internment camps.
Internment camps.
Yeah.
Sorry. And then as Chinese coming over from, for better lives and stuff like that, yeah, they were kind of, figured, like, look at how they were treated doing the railroads, look at how they were treated, like, for, like, plantations and stuff like that.
I don't have to explain the Jew side. We've all learned it in school. Like, Nazis did not like us. And it wasn't just the Jews now. It was black people. It was anybody, gypsies.
Yeah, but because you figure you looked at...
If you were white, blonde hair, blue eyes, even though Hitler was...
6 foot, like 6 foot something muscular, then you have the entire opposite of Hitler, who's like short, black-haired, brown-eyed...
Half Jew.
Half Jew, not
missing
muscular.
Testicles or something like that. I think I heard that somewhere. But like,
and yet, to be honest, since we're talking about the Holocaust, some people still believe the Holocaust didn't happen. I don't know how that can still be a thing.
Oh, I've been called a Jesus killer, and I keep explaining to people that it wasn't the Jews who killed Jesus; it was the Romans. You want to blame somebody? Blame the Roman Catholic Church.
Which is funny.
Yeah.
Because what?
It wasn't the Jews. We just don't believe he was the Messiah. Like, why would God pick us? We're very humble. Like, no,
technically, don't they say he was also Jewish anyway?
Jesus was a Jew.
Yeah.
There was no such thing as Christianity or Catholicism back then.
So then
you had Jews, and that was it. Jews, and that was it. Jewish people. Like, I also to just understand, like I'm saying Jews. Don't call your Jewish friends Jews.
Yeah, that's not good.
it's very anti-Semitic. We like it when you say the full word, please.
Jewish religion, Jewish faith, Jewish
Yeah,
person.
yeah, and don't call us Jew boy. That's even worse. I've been
Yeah.
called Jew boy a lot, but when yeah, to get away from this topic real quick,
It
we
just still baffles
support.
me that people are dumb.
It doesn't
But
baffle me that people are dumb. It baffles me that people are ignorant. I don't care if you don't know a lot of things. You don't have to know non-Euclidean space and time or whatever the fuck it's
well, yeah,
called.
I don't
You
expect you
don't
to know
have to
everything,
know
but
calculus 4.
at least have some idea of where you came from as a person, where your ancestors came from as a person, and
I'm Irish too. Like
yeah,
we
even
were looked down worse than black people were. Like
in New York, and
yeah,
yeah,
watch Gangs of New York. The Irish immigration was like bad.
yeah. Well,
No one liked us. That's it.
and
We're
also you
lucky we
figure,
found this racist safe haven we call Boston.
yeah. Well, I guess you
Which
figure,
is like that's
yeah.
just a joke. Like I'm a Boston Red Sox fan.
But you figure, I like even I don't know if it was if it was documented or anything like that. But you figure most of uh, the well, I don't most of the blacks that were brought over from Africa, most Africans that were brought over, they were more in the south, whereas where New York was, it's more north. So
Yeah,
I don't know if they actually were taken up there, because then you figure if New York was supposed to be the mecca for every immigrant coming in, that was the stopping point. I figured
they came in through Louisiana, if I'm not mistaken. That's where the Louisiana slave trade and the
yeah, but you figure it. Again, I don't know if
I
it's
think it was
documented,
Louisiana.
but it was more within the southern areas versus the northern areas. So of course, yeah, the plate there
That's where
could
we had that
yeah,
Civil War.
but the plate there could have mimicked the plate that the Irish people got in New York, where it was pretty much like a parallel to what was
Yeah,
going
like
on. They weren't exactly slaves, but they were still persecuted against and everything.
I think
like
I
that,
heard a story, and I don't like if my mom ever hears this. I hope to God she doesn't think I'm like lying here, because I remember hearing this story from one of my aunties, but because my grandfather came to America, and just the way New York treated everybody, he actually came to America through Canada. So he went to Canada, traveled, and they lived in Canada. I think they lived in Nova Scotia for a
Okay.
while, and then he was like 14 and or maybe less than that. I think seventh grade. He quit school, uh, worked on a train, and went all the way across Canada. And he's like, Washington seems like a good place. I didn't hear
Let's
any
go
shit from
there.
Washington.
Yeah.
It's just because he was like his last name was Irish, and he was like fuck New York. Like
Well, I mean, you figure because that was the idea that we wanted to put in, was the fact that we want that's what makes the U.S. is the fact that we're not just of one race,
we're a
culture,
melting pot.
religion. We that's how it actually is, and that's why in terms of America being, I don't want to take what's been said now, but what makes everybody want to come to America is the fact that they have more opportunity, they have more chances to make something of themselves versus where they're from.
And I know like oh hold on.
Oh, Philboat. Aha! And
Oh,
I'm usually the one with my phone on. Who's a Philboat now,
I
Em?
forgot that your dad taught me to start putting alarms on whenever I need to get things done, and I forgot that I had an alarm on. This is why I wanted to record earlier.
Philboat!
But um,
That was a good boat.
fuck
That, that was really good.
that. Oh, I can't see the computer, so I don't know what the caption
This is
looks
more
like.
like a solid one. It wasn't like going in and out. It was just, I held that note Philboat and I was just going. Yeah.
But
I gotta record that. I'm gonna like throw that in certain areas.
what Failboat?
Yeah, when we once we start recording games and stuff like that, if something happens, that's gonna be like something I'm just gonna throw in. Like when
Maybe.
Well, I mean, if we die in the game, like it should oh yeah, we're pretty good at this game, and somebody dies.
That's gonna get annoying.
Philboat!
That's gonna get annoying. Like
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
5 minutes into the game when we die 3 times, because we remember when we were testing out our ability to just talk on a mic, and
Well,
we're
no,
playing
because you
Trek,
were.
Star Wars, and you died like
Well,
three
that's because you were
times.
all. Because I didn't know the fucking controls. You're like, oh, jump over here. I'm like, okay, jump. And you're like, and then I was like, okay, and I fell off and died. And you're like, oh yeah, you're supposed to press this button. I was like, gee, thanks.
Yeah, but you keep forgetting to push the button.
Because in any game ever where you're traversing stuff, you don't have to push a button to hold on to it.
In any game, you should learn the controls.
The controls weren't even popping up as fast as we were playing.
It tells you.
It wasn't popping up as fast as we were playing.
And they had like a little thing on the top that tells you what to do before you do it.
That's not helpful in the least.
It is.
Especially when you're the one that was high and going, wow, look at that background. So I kept
my god,
scanning
that game
around.
is so beautiful. If you've never
Exactly.
played Star Wars,
This is what I was dealing with when I was playing Star Wars.
oh, what is the game called? Star Wars what?
Fallen Order.
Fallen Order.
Or the Fallen Jedi. Fallen Order.
Oh, look at you. You don't even remember it too. Where is the game?
Someplace around there.
I don't see it at all. Oh, well, we're trying to find the game right now.
Aha! Fallen Order. I was right the first time.
Okay, Star Wars Fallen Order. Like, that game is just beautiful.
Pointing out to my mind.
I'm vaping a lot right now.
Alright. But yeah, don't get me wrong. Visually, that thing looks amazing. But me playing it for the first time, and M have playing it like 3-4 times. Going, I beat the game, and he's high as fuck at the time we're recording it. Going, dude, look at that background. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I could stop in certain areas, and then I completely forget the controls because I was staring at the background.
Oh my god, no! It is just a gorgeous game. Like I don't play a lot of games. I try to, but I get bored very easily in video games. I like reading. I'm weird, but
You're not weird.
well, I don't get as immersed in video games as some people do. But like books, I like get taken.
Well, I
away
mean,
to,
see,
magical lands like Arda and Middle Earth and.
Well, I think even
Artist of Planet, by the way.
my brother said it best. Like, don't get me wrong, I love playing D&D. I played we played D&D together. I've done Pathfinder. I've even done like Cyberpunk with some of my friends in high school, stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, I like that aspect. Everything is you got to think about what you're gonna do, and like all these things can happen. And of course, it gives you more. It gives you more freedom to do certain things. But for my end, it was like, and I kind of agree with my brother, is the fact that some video games were made to kind of streamline like what D&D and stuff was doing. And don't get me wrong, there's always going to be a place for D&D. It's not that I'm saying I'm never going to play D&D. I still do, and but for me, it's like certain aspects where I don't have to remember what this attack does and how much damage it does, because of some factors change from like what armor or what weapon I'm using to like what level I am, to have to adjust the damage and everything in between. And if I forget to write it down or I forget to change it when I level up, I'm doing less damage than what I should be at, and then everybody looks at me like I'm an idiot because I forgot to change one thing. Whereas in a video game, it kind of does it for you, and I don't really have to think about it in that sense.
You see,
So-
I like that. Like we have a game called Munchkin Quest, and it's a longer version of Munchkin, and I still to this day think it's a way better game than Munchkin. Like I honestly do. Like the regular Munchkin game, I love the fact that it's quick. I love fast games too, but I like games that make you think.
Well, I mean, again, don't get me wrong.
That's why I
it's
think
just
I
one of
like
those-
D&D. I like the idea that I have to, I really have to think about where I'm going to put my things next. So,
Oh yeah, I mean in terms of stats, but like again, forgetting to if you change weapons and stuff like that, I end up forgetting to like, I got this weapon, or I'm going to use this weapon, but I forget to write down what the stats are for the weapon and shit.
so like,
That's the part that kind of throws me off, because then I gotta go, oh, fuck. Okay, where is this?
well,
thing,
you can't
man?
the reason. Okay, so the reason why we named it DM is because one of the words in there, I can't remember which one.
The Dungeon Master.
Well, that was one of the reasons, is because both of us are complete nerds. But the main reason is because of the fact that one of the words in there was lazy. And if I can describe one of us, both of us actually are pretty lazy.
I mean, I'll put in the work, but in terms of the flow.
You can't be lazy with
No,
D&D.
Yeah, but in terms of the flow of the game, I don't want to slow down I don't want to slow down like the DM from what what he's doing because I gotta go and look up fucking something.
No, but
shit like
if
that.
you have a good DM, like the flow doesn't change. Like we play games where we have a mage who he's a sorcerer, I believe. No, oh my god, I don't even know what he is.
Good job.
He's a in game too. Like he's very quiet. So like the way he plays his character, we don't really know all that he can do. And as a player, I know all that he can do. Like I give him. So my character is a gold dragon, so he does stuff with fire. And because I've unlocked some of my dragon aspects, because I lost it with a wish spell, because my character got bored being a dragon for 2,000 years, and he went, "Fuck this! I'm gonna be a human now."
That's because he's being a overconfident asshole.
Yeah, okay. I wanted to make a character that was opposite of me. I have so much insecurities, and I wanted this to be an escape where I can be the person I wish I can be.
Yeah, so you got to be the overconfident, humble guy, not because you were more
Why?
again, because if you wanted to make it opposite of what you are, you were the fucking all over the place asshat.
That's because I suffered from bipolar and I didn't get help for it.
No, but like in terms, even
but in reality,
even I'll say, yeah, I am an asshole. I will proudly say I'm an asshole. Everybody in one way, shape, or form is an asshole about something. I am a jackass about certain things, and even my character in like Pathfinder and D&D, I usually like playing monks, and most times like I can do the most without actually having to say anything, which
we have a monk and in our game, and she's very like in real life she doesn't trust that her character is good, and I play a barbarian, so I'm very.
Because she might be playing the character wrong.
No,
No, I'm not saying she is, but I'm just saying she might be playing the character wrong.
Like she's a really good player. It's just the thing is though is that like
you know who you are.
if she ever listens to this, but
I told them about it. They better be listening to this. Dang it.
She's very insecure about her character. So one day I was like, look, my character can one shot half the people now because of the way I built my character.
Yeah.
So I fought her, and even if I go first, I can't one shot her because as a monk, I told her to put as like if you can get your dexterity as high as you can, and I will never be able to hit you.
Yeah, because that's the whole point. Don't wear any armor.
Patient defense, and we also added our own like table rules. So, like we made up our own weapons and whatnot. Like our DM came up with like the story for different weapons. Like for me, I'm like the seventh son of like my father, so I'm able to use a specific weapon that shoots fire out of it and whatnot. But it's like a 1-a-day spell.
So he shoots fire out of his butthole by eating Taco Bell.
No, I don't even eat meat anymore. Anyway,
Taco
it was like
Bell's
the
not real
nerdiest joke I've ever heard, man. But
I'm gonna say because they're eating Funyuns and Mountain Dew, so you shoot fire out of your butthole.
Dude, what? What? Anyway,
that's the joke for D&D. Is like it's a lot of like overweight fat dudes, potentially fat women that meet up in somebody's basement and drink a lot of Mountain Dew and eat a lot of.
No, but we do drink a lot of alcohol. Like,
yeah, that's not a good combo.
Oh no, it's a great combo. Like we drink a lot of alcohol. We like everyone's hitting dabs or smoking weed, which I don't recommend dabs to people. That shit put me in the hospital, man.
I also don't recommend being the DM doing this kind of thing because if you're very forgetful when you're smoking.
No, he's a functioning pothead.
Again, I'm not saying he is, but I'm saying if you are a potentially forgetful pothead, it's not going to be good because you're not going to remember where the hell you're going.
But like, no, his story. Oh God, his stories are so good. I think, and he takes it from like we take a lot of our stories from things we like.
Yeah, of course.
So, for my story, it's probably going to be along the lines of
Elder Scrolls,
or yeah, maybe even Elder Scrolls.
That's where you got the Dragonborn thing from, you douche.
No. That's an actual character.
You based it off. I remember you talking about basing it off of Skyrim, like because you wanted to be a Dovahkiin.
I no, I wanted to
So he kind of allowed you to do that that one time.
I wanted
You were
to
OP as fuck from the get go. And
no,
then
I was a half dragon. That's why I was super OP.
yeah,
Because
but
half dragons
that's
are
how.
so much stronger than dragon.
Yeah, because that's essentially what a Dovahkiin would have been.
No. They would be more like humans with just special magic. Like they wouldn't be like dude. I was a half dragon, dude. Those guys have like my strength was so strong. Like I was so strong that I could bull rush a giant and knock him down. Like it was so cheaty. It was so cheaty. That's why I went with
Well,
Dragonborn
even
instead
knocking
because it
him
was
down,
so boring.
you still granted your rolls weren't the greatest that night, so you missed a bunch.
No,
I
yeah,
remember that.
yeah, no,
The
no.
only reason we got that bull rush is because you had fucking you got your roll actually came out really good on that one, and then we beat the shit out of him after that. But prior to that, holy fuck, he was fucking shit up. I
Like-
remember that night.
Like
That giant was fucking us up. Well, not me per se, because my bitch ass was just running around punching him in the back of the head. That's what.
Oh,
I
I played a game like
monks for life.
I played a game like what is it? Dark Souls, where I kept rolling around, so I had to keep rolling athletic checks. But since I have a really high strength, um, it worked. Like because in the another thing we did was we gave all of us boons to help us out. So my boon allows me to get my strength to 30. And if you read your character, which I'll give you guys like the first hint when it comes to D&D, when making a character, read the fucking book. Read everything about the class and the race you can.
And
if
also double check with the DM or the GM if you call him a game master, what type of point system you're going to be using. Because sometimes
I say you should roll.
yeah, that's that's a good that's a good way to do it, especially the standard way. I consider that the standard way. The point by system can be kind of OP, but then you also limit how much you get and stuff
Well,
like that.
the reason why I say read is because, like I'm a barbarian. Our DM won't allow me to go past 30. But when you hit level 20 as a barbarian, you get +4 to your strength and dexterity, raising it up by 4, right?
Yeah.
So what I do is I get my Constitution, I think. I
One
can't
of
really.
those.
Yeah. I mean, like I read it once enough for me to like plan out how I'm gonna do my stats.
Yeah.
And don't worry too much on feats if you're a barbarian. At
Because you're
least,
trying to hit shit.
yeah, because feats won't matter. Like they're like, oh, maybe you can get like some feats, like
Well, yeah, I'm not saying feats are bad, but it's like you don't have to concentrate on it as much as some
yeah,
other
like
classes.
there's like 2, maybe even 3 that
Like,
you really need.
Best
but
example would be like the human fighter. Human fighters, like you want a fuck ton of feats because you can always go ranged, you can go melee.
See, I never go human fighter because of the fact that I know that I will not roll my stats good.
Because
but
again, you can play. That's the part I think that like as a rogue, you know what you got to throw in. As a warrior barbarian, you know what you got to throw in. As a mage, you know what you got to throw in. For the I would consider like the fighter, even like the monks would be more of like generically, or for lack of a better term, is like a hybrid class. Not so much in the sense of D&D where you're taking two classes and meshing them together, right? But it's more of a hybrid class where you kind of you don't need just like these specific stats, so you can spread it out a little bit more evenly. But you should have some in some other stats more than others. But you can utilize all the stats versus like say a barbarian can utilize all the stats, but the main focal point would be more strength, constitution for life, because you're the one running ahead of everybody, running headlong into it. Versus say like a fighter, you can build him as like a barbarian, but he's going to be weaker because of how the character is laid out. But you can also build it as like a ranger, who's long range, and your stats are going to be totally different. So it really depends on if you want to what your backstory is going to be, if you want to do it that way. And even like so you have to even plan your character out, especially for the more hybrid style ones before you even consider doing the rolls. You got to figure out, okay, do I want to do this as a long range? Do I want to do this as a melee? Do I want to be able to sneak better? Stuff like that. So you have all of this that I think make those classes a little bit harder for the rolls, just because you know like specific things you need, but then you can also be like, okay, because some of these things also get enhanced by these stats, so I want to put a little bit into this. I don't need a whole lot, but I don't want to leave it at like base, and I don't want to let it drop. Like, so that's a little bit of the hard part, where it's like, as a, like, I could say as a barbarian, it's like, oh, I don't potentially need like I want to potentially need like wisdom, because I'm not really casting spells all that much. So I'm gonna, of course, funnel everything into fucking strength, be as strong as possible, so I can hit, and like it fucking hurts,
Also,
kind of thing. So,
like as a barbarian player, like I normally don't play barbarians. I like rogues,
oh, of course,
but
I love sneaking around, but that's why I play a monk.
well, no. It's not really the sneaking part that I enjoy. It's more of the like the stealing. Like I guess that is sneaking, but I like the fact that I can get in and set up where I want to be. I
Yeah.
play strategically. Like,
Well, I mean, that's why I like to play monks too, because to me, monks are. Yeah, again, I could be labeling it all wrong, but to me, monks, in terms of like when I was playing it in D&D, especially like the older D&Ds, and then even in Pathfinder, it reminds me more of a hybrid of like a barbarian and a rogue, because of the fact that I'm light, like, because I don't have to wear like any type of armor to get like better dodge, so I can move. I'm a lot more agile, but I can also hit like a fucking truck. So that's my kind of style that I like. Or unless, depending on what other characters are going to be within the party, I'll of course, I tend to want to be more of the supplemental character, where I'll fill the role that needs to be filled. So that's what kind of taught me how to play
I
like a
think that's the
multiple.
reason why I went with barbarian this time, is because nobody wanted to play tank.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we did have a tank because we had a paladin.
Well, yeah.
But no,
I
no,
mean,
we now have a paladin. He first played a ranged fighter, I believe, or an archer, one of those two.
yeah. But see, that's the part where it's like,
And he just didn't know how to play that character correctly. Like and he kept like he saw like a lot of okay, shocker for nerds out there, but a lot of my friends are insecure, and it was their first time playing, and he just was hating on his character. And I want to play a ranged character. I've never really played one before. I understand that they don't hit as hard,
oh,
but
they can.
yeah, like we
But
have
that's
right
why you
now,
can.
we have a gunslinger,
But that's why you
and
can siphon it. But that's the thing with Rangers, you can just literally siphon it into like two or three stats. Like same thing, like because you're going to be a range fighter, you know what stats you fucking need. Like it's the same thing, like, or even like a bard, stuff like that. You know specifically what stats you need. Because I would consider it not so much more of like a hybrid style. You can kind of design it that way, but as a range, like, normally in most, like, even in like most video games for like range, you want a lot of dexterity, which increases your overall range damage. You want agility, so you can shoot faster or move around more. So usually those would be like the two main stats. Like best way I can kind of explain it is like Ragnarok Online. Ragnarok, you still have Dex, Agility, Strength, Wisdom, Constitution, stuff like that. So you still have the same basic stats. And as Archer or Hunter, Dex is your pretty much your main damage stat, and Agility, it determines how fast you shoot. So those would be like the two stats that you really need. And then once you max those out, you can go into Luck, so you can get more crit chance. Literally, those are the
yeah,
three stats
okay.
you need. Like,
So the way I do it is here's a well, like, anyway, what I was saying about barbarians is excuse me, is that you don't have to be the dumb one.
oh, of course, you don't have to be.
A lot of people are like, my name's Uglock, I'm barbarian. Like, you don't have
That's
to
because
role play like that.
but that's because they also want, like, because some people prefer to play like that, because then they can, it's easier to min max in that sense, because then you can take away from other stats and then max out the ones that you really want to do from the get go.
No, yeah, but I want more. I want
stronger.
more people to play as tank characters, because I realize there's not a lot of tanky people out there. You know what I mean?
So you play a monk.
A lot of people. No.
Oh, dude, I'm the dodging tank, man. Remember when we're going the freaking
No, but we can't use that one because we're basically like you can choose whatever you want, and
no, but our
a lot of
stuff.
people who are starting out in D&D, like I don't play like that. Like
Yeah, fair enough. The monks are. I would say they're not the easiest class to play. They're not the hardest either, but you do have to design them
I guess like if I had to say
specifically.
hard classes would be any ranged really because it's
Not
not
so
hard
much. It's
for
more the not so much because those you don't
well
have.
you're the squishy one, so you have to
Yeah,
play a little bit more pensive.
you're conservative. You have to play more
Yeah,
conservative, but
and
that's the whole point where
I would say like mage characters are the hardest ones, just due to the fact that there's a lot of reading involved, a lot of planning you need to do,
yeah.
a
But I
lot
mean
of
the spells can supplement a lot of the stuff, a lot of your
yeah, but you
weaknesses.
have a finite amount.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. Yeah, you have a
Because
finite amount.
we've had battles now because of the fact that we give each other like we gave ourselves boons. Not we did. Our DM gave us boons based off of the backstories we gave him.
Yeah,
Um, and we're heavily influenced with gods now. Hey, Captain. Um, we
keep
we
going.
um we kind of look at it now like we have to raise our the CPs if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Of the villains that we fight against. And like another DM tip, uh, if you can do it one way where everybody gets XP based off of what they killed, but that's kind of like a lot of remembering you have to do. The way we've been doing it so far,
it's a shared XP pool.
well, a shared XP pool, but more of like we don't even look at XP anymore. It's just whenever we've done something important and the DM deems it like, all right, you guys gone through a lot of shit. Here's your level up. We'll get a level up.
It's just kind of like a video game then.
No, yeah, kind of. No, not really, because video games you can XP farm.
No, I mean you
Um,
can XP farm, but there are ones that it's just like the moment you
I
like
guess it'd be like
regardless of
if
where
we
you are,
were.
the moment you do this, like you could be like a sliver away from getting a level, but then it'll automatically give you the one level, and you'll be still at that sliver, just one level up, kind of thing. Where
Kind
it's like,
of.
oh yes, you achieved this main thing. Here, level up, and then you're still at that same spot, but you're one level higher.
Kind of.
So
Yeah. Like this is more just
yeah, just so
um
you don't have to count shit.
yeah, it just makes it easier. It makes it flow faster. It takes
Yeah,
a load off of you as a DM. Like
because you
that's
don't
how
have
I
to
play my games
because you
now.
don't have to like calculate. Oh, okay, if we're splitting it up equally, everybody gets this much. Oh, you're this short at leveling.
We do
Well,
that with our money, but
I mean, yeah, but the money part, yeah, that's to be expected. Unless the party goes, no, I did more of the fucking work, I deserve more of the pay, blah 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 blah, kind of thing, and that's what leads
well,
to like other role playing
if we do it
aspects.
like that, then usually it'd be the monk barbarians who get all the money. And like, how do you divvy up? Like, I killed more than you, yeah, but I supported better than everyone else. Like it gets a little
Well, no,
argumentative.
yeah, but again, it depends on how your party wants to play it.
Yeah, like
That's the whole thing.
we started our like in our party we have our own group, kind of like the Seven Deadly Sins or something like the anime. Like a group of mercenaries that go around and kill and get money. Like our whole thing is make money. That's our whole thing.
Mm.
With I guess my character's at the lead. Well, my character likes to lead by making other people lead for him. That's how my character does
Kind
it.
of manipulating people. I
Yeah, yeah,
see.
yeah. I'm not like my character's not smart, but he's cunning. You know what I mean? Like so, and if nobody wants to listen to him, then he will intimidate them into doing it, even in the party. He doesn't give a shit. But I honestly think that like if you could take a load off of yourself as a DM, it makes the game playing a lot better and flow a lot easier. So it's basically trying to find like doing the minimum amount of work to get the maximum amount of output is what you're kind of looking for in at least your first couple campaigns. If you're one of those people who love, like we have a DM who loves everything, where you get XP not by killing the people, but just by hitting them, kind of like Pokemon.
Well, I mean, yeah, because
Or like
it's
if
just
you
based upon like.
well, no, no, like if you just send out a Pokemon, right, and you let him hit once, or if he's even just in the battle, and then you suck him back in the Pokeball and you send out your good one.
So he still gives you XP for miffing then,
Yeah, so my character has
as
a
long as you try.
my rogue character has a crossbow, and she just kind of walks around and shoots all the bad guys and hides for the rest of the fight.
I don't know that. I mean, yeah,
And I just get a shit ton of XP doing minimum amount of work.
that's true. Yeah, you do something like that.
But I haven't been playing recently, so my character's kind of falling behind right now in the XP pool.
Oh,
But
yeah, I haven't really played a caster class all that much in D&D. I should play a warlock or something.
you should probably speak up a little louder so that way,
I was picking up.
just in case.
It's picking up. Don't worry.
But
Yes.
I think like it's worth it. It's honestly like play D&D. It's honestly worth it, and it allows you to just get your imagination and run it wild.
To be creative, to have fun, to interact with people on a more
Like intimate
yeah,
basis.
on a more intimate level. It's more fun that way. Like, don't get me wrong, like I love playing video games, but I do like a good D&D session where, we just do goofy shit, just hang out.
Yeah, right now
Like
we're
enjoy,
doing a
yeah.
really serious one,
Well, yeah, I
but
mean,
we still
you always
have goof
the
moments. Like my character's bisexual and he just like has sex with everybody. It doesn't matter the race. It doesn't matter like if they're a good person or bad person. He just fucks around. Um, he's violent, but also super caring to animals only. He's constantly getting the group into trouble because he doesn't like sneaking. I think once we tried to sneak underwater, and I rolled a 1. Well, because dragons can breathe underwater.
well, yeah.
And I rolled a 1. And I basically just hit all the coral. Like, I crunched on all the sticks in the woods, basically, is what I did. My character is horrible. Every time we do a sneak base skill, I just fuck that up. But and don't be afraid of multi-classing.
And don't be afraid of fucking up your first time or even your second, third, fourth, fifth time. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
and be kind to each other. Even if you're like
Just have fun with it.
if you've played like D&D all your life, like, and you have a new person coming in, don't be an ass to them.
Yeah.
Because
I'll put it I'll kind of put it this way where I personally wasn't a part of this. I did hear a story of it, but it's when you take it too seriously, it can really fracture friendships. Like you gotta just roll, not so much roll with it. You just gotta be able to have fun with it. And if somebody likes to do like goofy shit, just be like, I'm trying to. You can, just talk to them. I'm trying to take this a little bit more seriously. Can you, I understand this is what your character kind of does, but you got to know when to be serious, when not to be. But when you're taking it too literal, where you want it to just be absolutely serious, you cannot make any kind of jokes and stuff like that. That's what kind of also turns people off. You got to be able to just, if shit happens, it happens. Like you got to be able to roll with it. And I would say any good DM, even watching like Gary Gygax, when they're doing their D&D games. Joe Manganiello is a huge D&D nerd. Um, Even like apparently Big Show, Vin Diesel, they play D&D.
a really good one to watch is 2. There's
But the moral of it is just have fun and roll with it. You cannot always be like super serious about
Yeah.
it, because then that takes away the fun of what D&D actually is.
like you're a fucking warlock, half orc,
I need some
walking around in Faerun or Neverwinter or Baldur's Gate. You're not. It's not real. Like,
yeah,
it's
just have fun with it.
yeah.
Enjoy the time while it's there.
But there's 2 you should watch, or there's one really that I enjoy. It's called Penny Arcade. They don't take it seriously. They have a lot of fun with it. I think there's another one called Critical Role, where it's a bunch of voice actors who do it.
Yeah.
And then I think Penny Arcade is run by I can't remember his name right now, but he's one of the main writers for D&D. One of the main DMs as well. He really helps out a lot. Um, but I honestly do think that like
You just gotta and just have fun with it. That's the whole point of it. It's just to get your imaginations going, to so you can feel you're more involved in the telling of the story.
Chris Perkins, that's his name, Chris Perkins, and he has a
Okay.
bunch of writers and like artists. So like the people from Penny Arcade who run PAX, um,
PAX, geez,
Mike
I really want to go
Krahulik
to
and
PAX.
Jerry Hawkins. You also at one in the early days he had Scott Kurtz. He's the guy who made PvP, the like one of the original like online comics.
Oh yeah, we gotta go
Uh,
to PAX, dude.
I want to go to
I want
PAX
to
in
go
the
to
worst
PAX.
way. Patrick Rothfuss, he's another good guy.
Well,
He's
also it depends on which PAX you go to because they have PAX East West, PAX Prime.
the writer of Name of the Wind and The Wise Man's Fears. Like he's good too. His character Viari is so funny. I think at one point he was like afraid of naked people, and one of the guys just kept getting naked to piss him off. It was funny. It was just a barrel of laughs.
Yeah, but it's being able to roll with the punches and just like it's just having fun and going with the situation because there was one game I did with some other friends where I was a rogue, and at night when everybody was asleep, I would replace the barbarian sword with a giant loaf of bread and make it look like a sword. And when we got into a fight, he would hit the thing with the loaf of bread, do like 1 point of damage, look at me, get angry, and wonder why I did that. But it was all in good fun.
Yeah.
We weren't in any imminent. I would say this in terms of the party. We weren't in any imminent danger of actually losing or him dying. It was just the fact that
So
it was just funny. Like,
in real life, like our monk character in real life is like a sister to me. Like I look at her like a younger sister.
younger sister.
But in game, like she just likes doing weird shit. So I think her character sleeps naked, and my character had a conversation with somebody telepathically, and I needed to get everybody together. So I just bust through her room, picked her up, and walked away. And I didn't notice because she didn't say it till like well after.
Yeah.
And I rolled, and I got a 1, so I didn't notice shit. Uh,
Perception fail. You
and
need the
like
dice.
that's just been the moment where like our both of our characters are just completely comfortable with each other.
You need better dice.
Um, I normally roll really good. It's just key moments where I'm like, okay,
Exactly. You need better dice.
no, I just need better luck. You know what I mean?
You need that save and roll, baby.
But it's just, it's, oh god, it's so much fun. We're not playing this week, but we're gonna be playing next week.
But yeah, I mean, to me, that's half the fun of it is just being able to roll with it and just kind of building building the characters together as a team, or even like in some instances where I've gone into some games where the moment we start off, we like any epic movie or something like that, you have like four, five, six different misfits from everywhere that are just they're heroes in their own sense, or they're villains in their own sense. If you want to do like the chaotic side of stuff, where I've done that as well, but it's like for whatever reason, they all happen to meet under these weird circumstances, and then they end up traveling together, and then you more can build the characters based around the party. You still have your own backstory, but you can also build upon that with your new members of the team or of the party essentially. So with those, I actually like those more versus having we have a backstory where everybody knows everybody and the team should work really well together and things like that. I I I I, I like both of them, but I am more partial to having you know everybody's on their own in the beginning, and for whatever reason something happens, like some big fight, big war, like even like a bar fight where where like the last guy's standing and we're like, oh, I didn't realize that you were as strong or as me or stronger than me and da 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 da. And then it's like, oh, then you can build upon friendships or relationships from there. because I don't know why I like those kinds of style. It's just I like being that loner that like everybody's a loner that eventually comes together into a party and then we just rock shit.
My
Versus oh everybody kind of knows everybody already and then we all know how to play off of each other and then we still rock shit. But I'd rather have I have no idea what you're capable of, but we're gonna try and make this shit work. And then once we figure shit out on how to make shit work, holy fuck, does it work? Like
yeah, mine is I like I like incorporations. I like making businesses in the group. And I always like to be the shadowy man who runs the business from behind.
well, I mean that's a good way to also make money.
I
when
forgot
you're
his
not,
name, but the
like,
guy from Spawn. Remember the Spawn HBO series? The cartoon?
which one? Yeah, the one Todd McFarlane.
Todd McFarlane.
Oh, he's so good in that one. God, I have that. It's so good.
I was just watching it recently too, but there's that government guy who kept telling what's his name?
Mm-hmm.
Twist what to do, and he's like, I don't want to keep fucking with this man. This man scares the shit out of me. He's like, you're gonna do your job. I like being that guy. You know what I mean?
He likes to be the shadow government.
I do. Like, there's a anime called Durarara.
I don't
And
know.
there's an information broker who literally just runs everything from the shadows for fun. That's the kind of guy. That's like the kind of personality I have, where I don't like being known, but I like being heard.
See, I think
That's the reason why I said yes to this podcast. I don't ever want people to know who I am personally, but if I can help people, that makes me feel better.
yeah. See, I think that would be an interesting campaign. I wouldn't be able to pull it off myself, but I think H could.
I could write it,
But
unless you wanted me to play with you in this campaign. Then.
no, like it's more. I could create a character, like
I like
that.
Charlie from Charlie's Angels.
Yeah, I mean, you could create a character like that could go on the missions and stuff like that with everybody, but they're also, again, this is just an idea. Like I would talk it over if I were ever to join you guys. If I would talk it over with H and see if I could be the ones kind of pulling the strings in the back end, but nobody knows it except me and him being the GM or the DM. But I'm still an actual character within, like, going on venturing with you guys. But I'm the one pulling the strings on making everything happen. Like that's the kind of that one is kind of interesting. Like you said, you wanted to be able to run stuff from like the background. Like I really want to make a character that does run shit from the background, like literally from the background, and nobody knows what's going on.
So maybe like a rogue with an archetype of mastermind.
No, not even like a rogue. I would honestly just play any class. To be honest, it would be any class. I would be the most unsuspecting person. I would be like even like a cleric. But like it's that ever so hidden agenda that nobody would be able to ever potentially. Hopefully, nobody would be able to ever find out that I'm the one pulling the strings and where the campaign is going, kind of thing. So it's like it wouldn't be messing with his story behind it, but I would integrate it myself. I would integrate myself into generally being a DM without being a DM.
I Okay, I see where you're going with that, but
I know it's really like a really messed up gray area, but it's one of those where it's in like I can incorporate into the story where
I think a good idea with
I
that
generally I should know what's gonna happen before it actually happens, like when monsters show up. But it's because I'm the one making the monster show up,
well,
kind of thing.
I think it'd be more. So
But I
that way
wouldn't.
it'd be more fun for you too. It'd be like you're the in betweener between the group and the other shadowy mastermind, so you get a little more information.
Yeah,
You won't get all the information,
yeah.
but
But I
you
also
get enough where you kind of like.
Yeah,
I'll
I know
make
something's gonna happen.
I'll make
when we
you
go here and
roll,
stuff like
let's
that.
say, like a charisma or an intelligence check or something like that, and that would be how much you understand and how much I'm willing to tell you.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I mean, like, again, like I said, D&D works no matter how you want to.
Yeah, no matter how you want to play it, it's just pretty much your imagination is your limit, which is like which is why again I still love, like, don't get me wrong, I'm an avid gamer. I would prefer like playing games because of the visual aspects, and I don't have to like imagine them as much. But I do. Oh, I do love a good game of D&D, Pathfinder, fuck even Cyberpunk. Oh, I love those. Like, it's just so much fun just
Yours
to see
is
what you
very
can
much
do.
the opposite of mine, though. Like you like that space more than the fantasy, yeah.
I don't know. Because I've played D&D more. I've played D&D Pathfinder more than I've done Cyberpunk. I've only ever played Cyberpunk in high school. Because to me, at the time I only knew of D&D, especially since D&D was like the biggest one, has been the biggest one since it's pretty much been made. But like Cyberpunk was one that not one of my friends had, and we wanted to test it out. So it was more, it was, you still had like the same aspects. You still had like, oh, these are your stats, how you want to build your character, what's your backstory. But instead of having just like regular weaponry, armor, like horses and stuff like that, it just flips to like modernized weapons. You have cars, bikes, you have swords, like vibro swords. You have like um, augmentations that you can do to your character, like cybernetic augmentations, so you can get better views of stuff. You get better chances at rolls and things like that. It does. I don't want to say it makes the game easier. It allows you to make the game harder because you have all the augments and because you can do all the augmentations. But to me, I prefer that. I prefer I prefer. Don't get me wrong. I like the cyberpunk aspect, but I also think it can make it a little too easy depending on who the GM or the DM is, versus like D&D where it's even as a starter, like if you just start playing D&D for the first time, like with the player's guide, with the dungeon master's guide, they have like ideas of like how to generally play it. You can always alter it to how you want to play it, but it's you can make it challenging or easier depending on what goes on. Same thing you can do it with Cyberpunk, but it's more you got to remember the health. You got to remember all the augmentations that you do, where the augmentations are. If something happens or hits you in that area, does it fuck up the augmentation? So you have all these extra rolls on top of the standard stuff. But I just I kind of liked it, but it was just way too much info to put on a sheet of paper.
No, yeah, yeah, I get that. I've never
But
played Cyberpunk. That's why I've
I mean,
I've seen.
I just like the whole idea of it. Like you're in that just in some distant future where it could be something like Terminator, where it's dystopian. You could be something like Blade Runner, again dystopian.
I wouldn't say Terminator's dystopian. I'd say Terminator's like end of days.
Yeah, but like it's more like we've advanced to the point where it's like a shady, darker version of what like Star
Like
Trek.
like Doom. Doom would be like a dystopian.
Yeah, so you could do something like that where you have like the standard armor, you have all these specialty weapons, all these specialty guns. You have like vehicles that are different, tanks, everything like that. So I like that style. But yeah, it does throw a lot more into the game, and it can make it either infinitesimally easier or infinitesimally harder because of the fact that as the GM knows, you do have augmentations within the game. So he could just make it infinitely harder from the beginning. So you really have to play it a lot smarter. And I would say like again, Cyberpunk, I could kind of base it the same like D&D, but when I was reading through like the Cyberpunk stuff, it didn't really have like a standard. Start off with this scenario and then play from there, so you can kind of figure it out. It was more. I don't want to say it's advanced because like even D&D they have the generally advanced versions. They have like the epic classes, stuff like that. But I would say it's more of a headache to start off with than D&D would be, to be honest. Just in my take on it.
Yeah, like if especially if you're not used to that kind of play style. Yeah.
Yeah, but having done D&D and everything before that, like all of my friends who've done D&D, we jumped into it head on, and it actually made a lot of sense. So we would like, and we in the end we ended up combining parts of D&D with Cyberpunk because it did work. So we had like we would bring in like things that we you figure you normally wouldn't see, but you see a lot of like futuristic ones, like again like Star Trek, Star Wars, where you have alien races and stuff like that. So we would see being like in my head I was like just some Asian dude, like with a lot of cybernetics. But we would come across like orcs, we would come across goblins, stuff like that. But they wouldn't be known as like goblins. They would, it'd be like something completely different. But we were able to blend the D&D side with the cyberpunk side, and then bring it together, and then mesh it really well, so it actually made sense. So I actually like that aspect. That is the fact that you can take different areas and literally just mash it together and make it work.
Oh, I mean, like,
It is
yeah,
great.
if that works, that's
Yeah,
great.
it was actually kind of awesome. Like I really enjoyed that one. But ultimately, we always ended up going back to D&D anyway because we didn't have to write down as much shit.
Yeah, I've never, like, again, like I said, I've never actually played, I never actually played D&D, not D&D, but
Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk enough, or at all, actually. But I think that's a little too much for me, personally. But, again, like, going back to H.P. Lovecraft, you can incorporate that kind of shit into it.
Yeah, because
Um,
it allows you that freedom, and you can. I
because
don't
you
know how the
have things like
stats.
Tarast, which can't die. And you can,
Yeah, but how would you like if you're incorporating like of course like the godlike parts behind it, like if
I
you were
think
to
there's an
fight them.
H.P. Lovecraft role playing game.
I'm sure of that definitely, and I'm pretty sure people already created character sheets and stuff like that for the gods anyway. I'm pretty sure of that because I've seen some floating around. To be honest, so you can always take those and then kind of tailor it to how you want to do it. Because no matter what, like you have a creative mind, you can always put forth something like that, where you may not necessarily even want to play the game, but you have interest in doing stuff like that for the game for other actual players who enjoy the game that want to be able to incorporate these kind of things, which is kind of cool. So you don't even have to play the game to be able to like create the characters and stuff for it. It's you have to have a basic understanding of it as far as how you should do the stats and stuff like that. But I think that's the great aspect of it where you don't have to be a part of it. You can be a part of the community and still create stats for the characters and stuff like that for ones that may not have been incorporated into the D&D universe, which is nice, or with any type of role playing universe, which I really like. So
Just to let you guys know, there is a basic role playing game called Call of Cthulhu, and if you get Mansions of Madness, it plays a lot like D&D, but a
but
little
yeah,
easier for you. Um, I think this is a good place to stop it, though.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'd
we
say.
talked a lot, brought it right back around to H.P. Lovecraft at the end.
But yeah, let us know if you guys like playing D&D. What characters you like to play or what characters like you're thinking of playing. We can give you our input on the characters because again, I kind of dabbled in everything, but not to the point where like I can say I'm an expert, but I know the general ideas for it. But you can always get the general ideas from the books. It's just it would be my intake on how if you want to build a character, let us know. We can give you input if you're looking for input on it. Like.
Yeah, like again, we're not experts. We don't work for Wizards of the Coast, or if you want to go even older than Wizards of the Coast, I think it's called
Oh,
TSR.
I'd love to work for Wizards of the Coast. That'd be kind of dope.
I think it's called TSR.
Something like that.
That was the original Gary Gygax company. I think I have the original. I'm talking like
What, first
old
edition?
first, like before first edition, like where there was
Before
only
it was an end. Before if it was ever an edition.
yeah, like when it was three things and they showed nudity in the book.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it could be an interesting thing too. Sometime down the line, we could even like do like
Like a little session, like a
like
hour and a half session.
like yeah, I figured if we jump on the Twitch, we could do Facebook because we're on Facebook. We are planning on going on Twitch sometime. But we could do something like that with our fans, where we could interact and play a game of D&D or something, and have everybody involved. That'd actually be kind of cool.
Cool. We got to get more fans.
Yeah, so tell your friends about us. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Tell everybody. I've already done
God,
that.
I hate the like, comment, and subscribe.
No, but it's not, I'm not saying like, comment, and subscribe. I'm just saying, tell your friends. Tell your family.
Because
That's what we
again,
did.
like we're nerds. And we also like it. If you have anybody who just needs to hear positivity, let them know about us because we're here.
Bring them to the channel. Join us.
Yeah, and the reason why we haven't touched on the the comments from last episode is because we're recording these in kind of succession. So if you want, like, you might hear a little later us talking about the Green Lanterns and what the Lantern Corps. It's because
Oh yeah, once we get some comments going and stuff like that, yeah, definitely we'll touch on those.
yeah,
But
because we haven't really talked about that yet, and it's only because we're recording these in succession while my mental state's getting better.
yep,
Um. So yeah, just be kind to one another, love each other, judge not.
play D&D, same thing. Love each other, judge not people. Unless that's part of your character, then be judgy all you want. You jerk.
As long as
Just
you're not
kidding.
doing it in real life.
Yes, but just have fun with it. Enjoy life. Just do anything that makes you happy.
Yeah. Peace and love, everybody.
Shoot.